Welcome, everyone. Exciting to see you all here tonight. Thank you so much for showing up and choosing to spend part of your new moon here. This is MoonRise, a monthly new moon gathering where we're going to be coming together to pause, check in, realign, and consciously step into a new cycle. I have been working with moon energy for several years, and each month, each month, if you will, we are going to weave together a few different pieces for this new series. So we will look at the astrology for the new cycle. I will share, or someone will share some moon medicine for an embodied practice or exercise that aligns with that new moon that you can use in your practical life. And then I'm also inviting some of my favorite friends and facilitators on to offer their guidance. These are inspired leaders that I love to work with, or the people that I turn to when I need help. So I'm just excited to share all of them with you. And these are really here to support us all in clarity, alignment, and taking intentional action. I use astrology to guide a lot of things in my life, and I actually don't know why more people don't. It's very helpful. And I know that this year is going to be a big year, so I knew that we were going to need a place to come and to gather and to get that guidance and that support. There's nothing you need to do for these sessions. Just arrive, listen, take it in, take what resonates, leave the rest. We will have some time for questions and shares at the end if you're someone who wants to share or have questions. But I will present you some information about the new moon. We will do like an exercise or a practice, and then we'll have some time for shares and questions at the end. All right. Before we get into the content, let's just take a moment. So again, this is an embodied practice. The invitation is, if you can, if you're not driving, to just close your eyes and begin to settle more deeply into your physical body. Take a deeper and fuller breath. And just begin to notice the way that your breath moves in and out. Noticing the rise and fall of your chest. Noticing the way that your mind immediately begins to settle. And again, just feeling more deeply into your body and all the way down into your feet. Feel the earth beneath you, the ground, the gravity that stabilizes your body. And just let your shoulders kind of fall away if you need to make any movements so you feel more comfortable or more aligned, you can. Finding that deeper, fuller breath and coming even more settled into the here and now. And just bringing your awareness to the space above your head. Calling in the wisdom of the cosmos, that these stars be guides and wisdom keepers, whispering us secrets so that we may move in alignment with these cycles. And as you bring your awareness to your breath, again, just checking in to your why, your intention. What brought you here tonight? If you have any specificity or a question or clarity that you're looking to anchor during this new moon, let's see if you can find that in your own being at this time. Good. And then when you're ready, just gently come on back, just to get us into the body, the heart, and the cosmic. And we will get into the new moon in Capricorn. Capricorn carries a very deep wisdom. And one way to understand this is through some different archetypes. This is how I really see and feel into Capricorn. One is the sage on the mountaintop. Okay, this is the elder, the one who has climbed slowly and patiently and with intention, who has learned mastery from practicing and doing something over time. And their authority is not from the ego, right? It is deeply rooted in their integrity and their craft and their mastery. Yeah, just love this. And if you know any Capricorns, some of their energy might come through here if you think about them as we go. The second is the sea goat, and I think this is really important because we're often associating Capricorn with the mountain goat.
Mm,
The one who knows how to climb high peaks, and it does. The mountain goats know how to get up there into the highest of places, in the tiniest of little crags, and they know how to get to the top. Okay. But the Capricorn is actually a sea goat and has a fish tail. Okay. And this really shows that not only do they know how to climb the highest peaks, but they actually have the capacity to swim in some of the more deeper emotional and spiritual waters. And this is really the mastery of moving between earth and water.
mm,
This spiritual ambition can actually be anchored in the real world. Some of my favorite people, women especially, that I know are Capricorns who are master spiritualists, master space holders. They have become so good at their spiritual and emotional work, and they hold such an incredible space. The other piece of Capricorn is the builder of sacred structures. So, what I mean by that is the systems, the containers, the legacies that last, right? This is holding a responsibility not just for themselves, but for their community and for future generations. And we really get a lot of lineage with Capricorn, right? We feel a lot of what came before us. And there is both matriarchal and patriarchal lineages woven into Capricorn. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign. Okay. Its season is associated with winter. Cardinal initiates, and earth is of the physical. So it's the energy of really beginning again through discipline intention, and resolve. And it's not the summer growth, although if you're in the southern hemisphere, there's a switch there. But it's the growth of more stabilizing and growing roots and deepening a foundation
Hmm.
so that what is to come is going to come with, you can only grow as high as your roots are deep, right? So, and what survives in Capricorn season is what is real, right? It is not fluffy. Capricorn is not fluffy. It is very real. So, excuse me, this is not rushing. This is about taking responsibility, about having boundaries, and choosing what will endure. Understanding that momentum can actually come from a still place, and that leadership knows when to conserve energy and when to act. And that's really the wisdom of a long-term vision, right? You don't do everything at once. It has to be done over time. And Capricorn is really about a sacred commitment that you make for something into the future, right? This is associated with time. It's building again from the ground up, and it is authority that is earned through patience, right? So that's the energetic of the modes and the elements with Capricorn. The ruling planet of Capricorn is Saturn, okay, the planet of time, structure, and wisdom earned through challenge and experience, right? Saturn teaches us that sacred responsibility is coming not out of obligation to do something, right? But choosing, I'm here to do this thing, I'm committing to do this thing, and I'm here to tend to this thing over time. So I see growth, so I see maturity. And even beyond maturity, Capricorn comes into mastery, right? Master builders, master facilitators, the person who has spent 10,000 hours doing this thing. Okay, it's not rushed, it's not superficial. This is the kind of growth that comes from doing it over and over again, from showing up over and over again. And Saturn is definitely interested in boundaries, okay? But those boundaries hopefully build freedom. So the limits of Saturn, Saturn is the last planet that we can see with our naked eye in the solar system. So it represents the physical boundary that we can see as humans with our eyes. That's part of its medicine in the cosmos. It's medicine in, nature. We can see it if you're thinking about wanting to climb a mountain. I know we have a lot of folks from Colorado on here, and you don't just wake up one morning and go, I'm climbing a 14er. You need the right shoes, the right backpack. You need to be prepared. You need to plan. You need to train. You need to have a safety thing. You need to know what the weather is going to do. You might, hike for several months in preparation before you climb the highest mountain, right? So that's one way I see that. Another way to really understand this relationship between Saturn and Capricorn is with diamonds. Okay. Diamonds are the most precious, expensive materials. I go in quotes here, right? Because that's the story. But they are, arguably so. And how are they created? Time, heat, and pressure. So when you're dealing with Capricorn, when you're dealing with Saturn, you're often dealing with time, heat, and pressure. which doesn't always feel good on a physical sense or a human sense. But you have to understand that what takes time to build is almost always more valuable than what's quick and easy. So we're talking about fine wines here, people. We're talking about, fine wines. Okay. Um, some strengths and challenges of Capricorn, right? If you need endurance, if you need emotional maturity, if you need the ability to hold a long-term vision, right? If you need somebody to show up in natural leadership and be in integrity, some of my favorite Capricorn people, I call them QC, quality control. If I want something done right, they are going to do it right and they're going to do it high end. Okay. They have the Capricorn energy has a lot of self-discipline and inner authority, right? They don't necessarily answer to outside, they answer to themselves. And that capacity, like I said, to build what lasts. We are aging fine wines here. Okay. The challenges that, of course, can come with this is carrying too much responsibility alone and really thinking you have to do it alone, going up the mountain alone, the wise man on the mountaintop alone, that can feel quite lonely at times. Over identifying with work or achievement or just general workaholicism, just overworking oneself. There can be a rigidity or a control or a fear of vulnerability and feeling your feelings and your emotions with Capricorn. The opposite of Capricorn being Cancer, right? The more emotional, sensitive nurturer. It really is associated typically with the father energy as well. The one who has to go and work and put food on the table and doesn't have time to kiss your boo-boos, you know. So there may be some difficulty with that emotional vulnerability or resting or receiving support or even some, self-judgment or perfectionism. You got to do it right, because there's a lot on the line being a breadwinner, right? You got to provide. Um, so that's some of our Capricorn energy. When we look at the new moon, okay, I've pulled up the chart here. This is for New York time.
Hey, Una, I
Yes.
don't know if this is just on my screen, but I have half of the thing cut off.
Uh-oh.
Half of the, does anyone else have that? Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
whatever you just did.
Half of it cut off.
This is right there, it's good for me.
Is it good
Yep,
now?
that's better too for
Oh
me.
yeah, that's better.
Oh man, so sorry. I don't know what happened. Was it like that the whole time or just now?
Just for the last couple
Oh,
of
okay. Okay, weird. Let me know if anything else glitches. Um, so I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Sabian symbols, but these are really cool channeled, kind of almost images or poems that came through for every single degree in the zodiac. So there's 360 of them. You always round up with them. So even though we have a new moon at 28 degrees, we go to 29 Capricorn. The Sabian symbol for this new moon at 29 Capricorn is a woman reading tea leaves. Okay. So this is the ability, right, to see meaning in what might otherwise seem random. It's about recognizing patterns, symbols, messages woven into everyday life. This is the intuitive wisdom of Capricorn, right? Not just working hard, effort, and structure, but discernment. So the invitation with this new moon, I think, is what is life quietly showing me right now? What is the meaning beneath the surface? And this degree also reminds us that wisdom doesn't always come from pushing hard and forward. Sometimes it comes from listening within and trusting what is being revealed. I couldn't help but also putting Capricorn 30 degrees, okay? Because the Sabian symbol for that is a secret meeting of men responsible for executive decisions in world affairs. So that is the very ending degree of Capricorn. And we're in a lot of ending degrees right now in astrology. And it's so important because, Capricorn is very much about power and power structures and top-down power structures. Watch the news, okay? The power to assume responsibility and make choices that affect others is very Capricornian, right? So it's associated with the government, with the banking structures, the financial situations, right? There's quite a lot going on with that. Someone's saying they can't hear me now. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Uh-huh.
I can hear
Chloe,
you.
Chloe, okay, Laura can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. It
Yep, me too.
might be the jungle. She's on the island vibes out there. Oh, she's out. Maybe if she comes back. Anyway, we're speaking really about hierarchy, even some of the occult hierarchy that we might, be looking at comes through Capricorn, business, politics, all through those levels, right? So we are definitely dealing with some bigger pieces. The power, the responsibility, the collective consequences of choices made. So it is important because I do want to say some of in my lifetime, since I've been studying astrology, some of the major Capricorn activations that I am aware of while I've been paying attention to astrology are pretty big deals. In 1989, we had a Saturn Neptune conjunction in Capricorn, and we saw the fall of the Berlin Wall, right? So the fall and restructuring of global power and hierarchies breaking down and ideologies that were shaping nations breaking down. We're about to have another one of those, a Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries. So we know this year we're going to continue to see additional themes like that, right? In 2001, 9/11, okay, we had the South Node, the eclipses were there, and Mars conjunct in Capricorn. So what happened? We had Mars cut the South Node karma. We saw the fall of the towers. In COVID 2020, we had a huge Capricorn stellium. Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, South Node, Mars. It all lined up, and we had a Capricorn pile up, and the entire world shut down. Um, that's that's what's up. In 2008, when Pluto first moved into Capricorn, we saw the financial housing crisis come through. So I say all that because it just really illustrates how literal astrology can be and how much Capricorn is enmeshed in some of these structures on a world scale. Okay. Don't worry, we'll relate it to your own chart too, but I do think it's interesting. As we shift, Pluto did shift into Aquarius in 2023. I think like the same week that that happened, there was some huge tech, AI, crypto something that occurred. So as Pluto moves into Aquarius, we are going to continue to see power structures and changes in technology, in who's an authority, And Pluto in Aquarius, thankfully, is linked to power to the people because that's what Aquarius is, the people. It's less top-down structure and more community based, which you can see in certain things already happening. The decentralization of certain things like Airbnb or Uber. These things have already begun. I think it's important because we're at these last degrees, and part of what we're seeing here is this, you know, Pluto and Venus are conjunct in a stellium here on the new moon, and I would expect Pluto and Venus to see some changes in the financial market going on. As we know, we have major ongoing political things happening in the world right now, from Venezuela to Greenland to what's happening in Iran and the continuation of Israel and Gaza. So there's some pretty big tensions still going on a world scale. This energy, though, is really understanding how do we go from a top-down structure of responsibility and leadership and having a few who are making decisions for the many and the consequences that that comes with, because we can't just get rid of it altogether. Do you want to pave your road? It's like, no, we need some government, we need some structure. We need some element of that in order to organize humans. But as we kind of shift into Aquarius, the question becomes, how do we become more decentralized? How do we have more power to the people so that the resources and the structures are given to those who need it? So we are going to be seeing major shifts in power and systems. Okay, the main themes we're seeing is a mega stellium. And for the next couple months, you're going to see we have stelliums going through the signs, through the signs, through the signs. And it's very interesting because when you have a lot of concentrated energy, we have the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus, and Pluto all together. So we know this is a very strong new moon that is bringing a very strong signature. The other pieces that we see here, okay, we see a trine to Uranus. Uranus is in the last degree. So here's that theme again, the very ending of a sign that has been in for 7 years in Taurus, which is an earth sign, which also rules the earth and the financial markets. So that's being activated. And then we have a sextile, 2 sextiles going here up to the Saturn Neptune conjunction in the last degrees of Pisces. A lot of Pisces energy this year. We've seen a lot going on with that. Pisces is absolutely the spiritual, the mysticism, the creative. But it is also, as we come into the last degrees of the zodiac, it is all the consciousness of humanity, which includes all the pain and the suffering and the disillusionment that comes with, the despair that comes with. Ultimately, we have to find our faith with this. The belief that it'll be okay, even though there's a lot that's going on that's pretty emotionally and spiritually intense. We've also see a resurgence of Pisces is associated with Christianity and Christ. So we have seen a resurgence. I don't know if you've noticed, everybody who is turning to Christ. What is that guy who's on, I forget his name now, Instagram, who used to be like an actor and then he became like a podcast host and he was a comedian and now he's like baptizing people in holy water. Russell Brand. Okay, so people that you wouldn't expect are going to Jesus. And I'm all for the highest form of Christ consciousness, which is true compassion and love and peace. Okay. But there's also a shadow side to that, not becoming martyrs and, having crusades to kill people in the name of that. But so it's a lot of energy though, right? To really be in that. Um, sorry, I got a little lost in the Pisces realm there, which can happen with Neptune, we can get lost. But honestly, I'm seeing also this bigger piece here, which is the stability of Capricorn, okay? The innovation opportunities that come with Uranus and Taurus, and the creativity and flow that if you bring all of those together, we're talking about balancing discipline and strategy, that Capricorn, with creativity and flow, which on a personal level, we can certainly harness. What I think is so interesting about this moon, okay, in Capricorn, because it's the first new moon of the year, and it is a moon where we're seeing it's the last time that we are going to have a new moon with all of these planets at the last degrees. So this is a huge bridge between the old world and the new world to come. In 2026, in May, Uranus will enter Gemini for 7 years, and we will see an explosion and breakthrough in communication, technology, education. Your robot taxi is here. Your ice cream and pizza are being delivered by drone to your backyard. That type of thing, right? Um, Next month in February, both Saturn and Neptune conjunct at the 0 degree point of Aries, the beginning of the zodiac. Again, structure meets vision, disciplined action on a spiritual and creative. I think we're going to see a lot of spiritual warriorship come through this. But that is starting a brand new 36-year cycle. And I didn't look this up, but I read that this was the last time that Saturn and Neptune were conjunct anywhere near the beginning of Aries was something like 6,000 years. So we're in unprecedented times, y'all. This is it. If you wanted to live in an extraordinary time, we're here. The other thing that will, really occur this year is as this sextile is going to continue on. So the Pluto and Uranus will trine. So again, we're going to see advancements and transformations in tech and science and medicine. I'm very much looking forward to hopefully some like major advancements in certain medicine technologies, frequencies, stem cells, all this stuff that's on the verge is coming. So that feels appealing and interesting. Also of note, Pluto and Uranus were conjunct together in the 60s, where we saw the revolutionary ideas. And now when they're in a trine, we're hopefully seeing those ideas get legs, right? So we're hopefully seeing that progression at this point. The other interesting thing that I think is really important, Chiron's getting there. It's not there yet, but it will enter Taurus, a new sign, I believe in May. So there is a lot of healing opportunity around the earth, your body, money, resources, self-worth, what it means to have stability. So long-term solutions for stability. So again, I think this is like an incredible new moon, bridging us between the world that was, 2025 was the snake and we were letting go and releasing. This is the last moon of the snake before we come into the horse year. It is a lot of planets that went back and forth between their old sign, new sign, old sign, new sign. They are all about to move. So the new world is coming this year. And this is the bridge right now. So, some really also key themes are really how do you integrate, right? The discipline of Saturn, the transformation of Pluto, the innovation of Uranus, and the healing on the physical level of the body and the earth of Chiron. So I'm seeing this as a very powerful new moon and a powerful year to align your personal intentions with global change if that is something you're interested in. Um, and I'm really seeing that some of the old things are just not going to work anymore for us. So whether that's for you personally or whether that's in the world, I just want to give a shout out. Today's Martin Luther King Day, in the time during the 60s when we had those revolutionary ideas. I actually just saw his only granddaughter speak on the news today, and they said, "What would you say, to him if he was alive?" And she said, "I'm sorry that we're not further ahead," basically. But again, this is part of time and the human cycles. I think a lot of us are ready to be there. It's like, is it 20 years? Is it 200 years, before we get to heaven on earth? We will see advancements in our lifetime, that is for sure, and we still have a long way to go. And this is part of Capricorn: responsibility, maturity, owning up to hard truths. And all of these end of the cycles, with Neptune, the end of illusion, disillusionment, the end of dreams. Like if you're up here in your reality right now, that is not happening once Neptune goes into Aries. You're gonna have to get real clear and be very discerning, with AI, of course, between truth and illusion. We're gonna have to get very discerning. I do think also we're going to have a really big space for conscious leadership, spiritual warriorship. Okay. So Capricorn and this new moon is really reminding us that our true authority comes from within, from our wisdom that is earned when we face things that are hard or challenging, or we put in the time to become a master of it. So big, big stuff. I'd love for you to know your chart a little bit more. If you don't, you can message me if you're on this call. I will run your chart for you, or you can go to astro.com and run it yourself, or you can go to the pattern or one of the apps and run it yourself. You need to know your time of birth. And when I work with the moons, almost always, specifically, I work with the rising signs, because where your rising sign is will tell you where that new moon is happening in your chart. Okay. So, funny, I want to start with Capricorn. I usually do, even though I didn't do it that way. If you are a Capricorn rising, this new moon is starting in your first house. So I would be setting intentions around your identity, your face, yourself, your presentation, how you look, how you put yourself forward. And also that does have to do with your purpose. Okay. If you're an Aquarius rising and you will have Capricorn in the 12th house, I would be setting big intentions here around solitude, spirit, rest, meditation, sleep, booking a retreat, and making sure you have that time set up for yourself to decompress. Our Pisces risings, okay, this is going to activate your 11th house of community and friends and your hopes and your dreams and your wishes. Aries risings, 10th house. So this is great for your work and for your career and how you are known in the world, your purpose. So this is a time to really be clear about what type of work you want to be doing in the world or setting the next goal for that. Taurus risings, this goes into the ninth house. Capricorn in the ninth has to do with our beliefs, our higher learning, travel, spirituality, and Gemini in eighth house. So these are shared resources, the intimacy and partnership or projects that you're working together on with someone else. Also has to do with sex, death, and transformation and metaphysics and the taboo. You know, the eighth house is a much deeper house. Cancer rising, so this is going to go the opposite side, your seventh house. So this is a great time to set up an intention around your relationships and your partnerships and your commitments. Leo rising, sixth house. So this goes into your work house, your health and your routine, a great time to set a new daily discipline. Virgos, this Capricorn will be in your fifth house. So, how can you find more joy, more art, more creativity, more romance, more self-expression? Libra rising's fourth house. This is about restabilizing the home, the family, your roots, your emotional and inner foundation. Scorpio risings will have Capricorn in their third house. So maybe we want to set intention more about your communication or something you are learning about, something easy. It can also be your neighborhood, your siblings. And Sag risings, this is your second house. So a great time to set intentions around long-term finances and money. Okay. So, hope that was helpful. I always work with the houses. I always work with the rising signs, the ascendant, and I work in whole signs. So, just so you know. Okay, I'm going to take a little pause. We're going to do an exercise, but I just want to check, does anybody have any questions about anything that I just talked about so far? No? Okay. So, here is our
Una, I
yeah.
do have one.
Okay, sure, Chloe. Yes.
I just wanted to know, so if so this new moon, so you're talking about a period of time between now and the new moon to implement those things?
So the new moon technically was yesterday, although I
Mhm.
have to say that I love the sliver moon. So go look out. You might be able to see. That's actually one of the most beautiful moons, in my opinion. So good question. How do new moon cycles work? Thank you for that. So a new moon will begin, and that cycle is active for 30 days until the next new moon. Okay. There's also a sick well, hold on. There's many cycles in a new moon. Okay, so there's first one that's 2 weeks, so between now and the full moon, and then the new moon, so that whole 30-day cycle, right? Another one is a 6 month cycle. Okay, and here's why. There's a new moon now. In 6 months, there will be a full moon in the same sign of Capricorn. So that full moon will come when the sun is in Cancer. So that is a 6 month cycle that you can work with on a longer term goal or vision. Yeah. There's also like a 9.5 and a 2.5 year cycles, but I'm not going to get all the way into those. Okay.
Amazing. Thanks for clarifying that. That's
Yeah.
really
Yes. Okay, so we're going to do a little exercise. So this is our main exercise for this moon cycle because this is such a big moon. And because we're all about looking ahead and because it's the beginning of the year. I would love for you to do, and if you have a journal, You can pull that out. We can do this in real time. But in order to really plan for ahead, for the forward, you know, it's important to look back. Okay. So if we can reflect where we were in 2025 before we set intentions for 2026, that is the wisdom of the structure and growth over time. So, what have you accomplished in the last year that required discipline or commitment? I know exactly what mine is. So if you want to just jot that down or make a note of it in your mind. I mean, I started a brand new workout regime and I'm on 3 times workouts a week and I feel strong. And that is not fun. Okay. It's not. It's kind of boring, you know. It's like, oh, working out. Maybe some people like it and it feels good. I'm not saying it doesn't feel good, but I have made a big commitment to that, and I did not expect to work out once and have the muscles that I wanted to build. All right. I set like a couple year intention for myself to build my muscles. Where did you show up even when it was hard? You know, this is maturity. You know, I got to do that anyway. I don't want to. It's difficult, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, where in your life did you do the thing, even when you didn't want to, or even when it was hard? And then, what structures in your life are working, right? If you have a new system, if you love your work hours, great. But if some are outdated or some are feeling too heavy, um, so the big question is, you know, what are you ready to release? Okay. So that you know exactly what you want to carry with you, to carry forward with you into this next cycle. So from there, okay, I am not a big New Year's resolution person. I don't even like that word, resolution. What I do love is intentions. I set new moon intentions every month. I also love beginning of the year intentions. So, what I want you to think about is one, two, or three, okay, up to you, areas of life, okay, it can be your Capricorn house, right? It could be your Aquarius house where we have Pluto for the next 20 years. It could be your Aries house where we have this beginning new conjunction in Saturn and Neptune. It could be your Gemini house where we know that there is where Uranus is moving for the next 7 years. I say Leo also because we are having eclipses in Leo and Jupiter in Leo this year. That could also be an area that you want to focus on. And if you don't know like which houses that is, that's okay too. Just consider as you like look back and as you look forward, I have a feeling you kind of know some of the areas in your life that you're wanting to grow in or make change in or accomplish something in. And an intention is great. So I'm going to give you just a few more minutes in case you're writing in your journal. And you want to just get really clear on that. I really do kind of recommend taking the time to set 1 to 3 overarching clear intentions for 2026 at this time. Okay. So as you have a few of those specific areas or intentions, the next very important part of Capricorn energy, okay, is to turn this into a real goal. Okay. Goals are important pieces to be very specific about. So you need to make them actionable. You need to make them measurable, right? And you need to make them something you want to do. Don't make a goal for yourself that you're just like hating, okay? Not that, you again can't do hard things, but if you know, like, I'm never going to do that, don't make it to fail. You're going to set yourself up to fail. So I recommend using the SMART framework for goals, okay? Um, they are specific, they are measurable, they are achievable, they are relevant, and they are time bound. Okay. So, as an example, if I were going to have a goal, I'm going to use this is not my goal, but let's say it was. Say I wanted to get back into dating. Okay. A goal would be my intention might be, I want to go out and meet someone interesting, right? Somebody I want to have a long-term committed relationship. Okay. A goal around that would be I am going to make an online dating profile and go on 10 dates with interesting, eligible people, right? By June 15th. Okay. What it isn't is like more esoteric, like I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna go on the dating apps. And then what? Just scroll away, swipe away, swipe away. Um, that's an example. Another one would be I'm gonna get skinny or something, I'm gonna lose, saying I'm going to get skinny doesn't really work. What you would be saying is, I'm going to work out 3 times a week for the next 90 days. And then I'm going to redo my measurements then and assess where I'm at. I had an incredible teacher, Midori. Shout out to Midori if you know her. She's a Anusari yoga teacher from Colorado. Her partner at the time, Jai, told us this story once about how he wanted to start playing this flute, like one of those flutes. It actually was this like special ordered from a master in Japan, carved under the full moon with the monks chanting over it, flute. It's like this very special flute that he got. And he was like, I really want to learn how to play this. Okay. So, what he said, the goals that he made for himself was that he was going to take out the flute from its case, unwrap it, and blow in it at least once a day for 1 full year before he decided if it was for him or not, before he evaluated if he was good or not. And he actually told us this in our yoga teacher training. And so I actually made a goal based on that when I was in my yoga teacher training, which was I'm going to unroll my yoga mat, okay, and do Tadasana on it every single day for 1 year. Well, guess what happened when I got on my mat and did Tadasana? I had accomplished and achieved my goal 80% of the time. I did a full practice, right? So the chances are when you make it this small and easy and attainable, measurable goal, this thing that you can do, like, and it seems so easy, like I can do that. I can do that. Then you actually end up doing more, right? Doing more. If I had made the goal that I was going to do a 90-minute practice every single morning at sunrise, how many times do you think I would have been like, nah, no, I'm not doing it today? But the unroll the mat and do Tadasana, like that seems so easy and attainable. So I recommend tricking yourself a little bit. Okay. It's a little trick is what it is. But it's also human nature and just being realistic. Yeah. Okay. Um, any questions before we go? That's my last slide. So this is me. I know you guys know me, the Cosmic Mermaid. I'm with Bella Retreats. But do you have any questions for me about any of this before we close things up? I am going to end if you have time with like a short meditation. But I just want to check if you have anything you want to, and it doesn't have to be a question, it could be a share. Does anyone want to have a share?
I resonate with everything you're talking about, Una, and I just want to thank you. This has been awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's so glad to have you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Amazing. I've got a chat coming in too.
I have a little share that's
Sure.
kind of a share, an informational share,
Okay.
celestial, because I read that the Northern Lights may be visible tonight but
Oh,
for a lot of, I mean, I'm on the East Coast, but they said,
yeah.
like down into like the South.
They've been
So
coming down lately. It's so cool. They've been
yeah,
coming
so I don't
down.
know where everyone is or how visible it really is, but
Maybe
I'm
check
gonna go
the
look
weather.
after this.
Yeah, check it out. Gorgeous. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I would love to finish up with a little meditation here. So just take a moment, coming back into your breath and your body after a lot of information. And again, just finding that deeper, fuller breath. Noticing the rise and fall of your chest. Just the way the air comes in and out of your body, softening your shoulders. Maybe just releasing your jaw. And then feeling the weight of gravity, your feet on the ground, the breath in the space in and around your heart. And that sprinkle of stardust from above. I want you to imagine yourself at the beginning of 2027. And I want you to see yourself looking back at the year of 2026. And I want you to feel into one of your intentions, one of your goals. And let's imagine what it would feel like to have achieved that. And I want you to imagine and feel it as if you just got to the top of a mountain and you stuck a stake with a flag. And that flag was a representation of that goal, of that intention. You made it. You did it. Good job. Congratulations. Woohoo. And I also want you to imagine one more piece. Okay, you're bringing up your glass of fine, fine wine, aged to perfection. And you are taking a sip of something, again, that you have intended, of a goal you have decided, and you are bringing it in and savoring. All your hard work, all your dedication has paid off, and it's delicious. And then bringing your hands somewhere in your heart or namaste, whatever feels good. Just come into some gratitude for the wisdom of the stars, the archetype of Capricorn, for the time and energy that we have to start our year with intention. And may you move into this moon season with a lot of strength and wisdom. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here tonight. Allison says thank you. I appreciate the insight and the time to create immeasurable, doable goals. Amazing. The wisdom of Capricorn now in your pocket. So go forth and get it done. All right, lovelies. So amazing seeing you here. Spread the word, download the calendar. We'll be here every month. Starting next month, I'm going to start bringing you some fun, fabulous fave facilitators. So you're not going to want to miss the lineup this year. And these are always recorded. So if you miss them, you can pop on and watch it later.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Great to see you all. Happy new moon.
You too.
All right.
Una,
Yes.
where are your replays hosted? Is it something you send or is it on
Yeah.
your website?
I'm gonna have to set up a place for them. I'll send them a link. I'll send you a link.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Mhm.
All right. Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Mhm.